What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy J Dub, the number one comment on YouTube, and I'm back with another review. Today, I will be reviewing. What am I reviewing? Always got to check. I'm reviewing Married at First Sight. This is season 16, episode 15, Whiskey and No No. And before I get started, for those who are new to my channel, I do detailed reviews of reality shows. So I may not hit every single scene, but I try to pick out the most important details and maybe pick up some details that you may not have seen. And as I said in my intro, I am YouTube's number one commenter. So with this channel, it's all about the comments. This is why I created a channel to do so, because the interaction between us debating, going back and forth, laughing, joking, just having a good time. And it just in the comments, all I ask is that we respect each other, because you're speaking to a family member, your cousin, my cousin, a member of the Dub fam. So for those who know, I've been away. I don't know how long I've been. It might be 3 weeks or whatever. It feel like forever. I've been sick. I've been busy. I've been all those things. But I had to pick myself up and say, you know what? I can't wait another day. We need to start on these reviews. I'm not going to catch up on the ones I missed. I'm going to just try to move forward like I've been. So we're going to start with Married at First Sight. So let me go ahead and continue, because I got another video to do right after this. So with Married at First Sight, the couples are pretty much they're about 12 days away from decision day. And they're getting house calls from the experts. And Devon Franklin is, I guess, I'm going to call him a guest expert, because this is the first time that I've seen him this season. So I guess, I can't say that he's like permanent on the show. But I wonder why they don't say Pastor Devon Franklin, because at this point, did Devon lose his pastorship, in the divorce with Megan Good? I don't know. Maybe they don't want to call him pastor because we already got Pastor Cal. I don't know. But Devon, he meets with Jasmine, and he meets with her individually. He doesn't meet with Eris. And to me, this meeting was very much needed. And because really, Jasmine and Eris out the gate, they both have admitted that they have communication issues. And in my opinion, I felt like Devon Franklin earned his check on this show. To me, he's been holding people accountable. He kind of simplifies the issues and gives you answers like you can actually relate to, you can connect with. And that reminds me of somebody who we don't really mention much of, and that's the great Dr. Nicole. That's who he reminds me of, giving you the good stuff, breaking it down, and giving something you can hold on to. With Jasmine, she really kind of mentioned like how a lot of people feel at this point, because I would want to stereotype, but I'm just gonna say people. A lot of people feel that like a person can feel how you feel without you saying it. And I'm an energy person, but I still think that's the dumbest thing in the whole wide world, because people receive information in a different way. So you can never assume that, like, well, I kind of sent that vibe off, so they should already know how I'm feeling. And then that's a real problem. And Devon told her, like, of course, because they watch everything, they're saying like, oh, you had like a situation with the girls' night out. You expressed yourself about what you weren't receiving from Eris, like, but did you tell him those same things? And she's like, no. And Jasmine pretty much says, like, I guess the way she came up, her way of dealing with things is the sweeping of the rug under the rug method. And Devon was pretty much saying, like, that's never gonna work. You're just gonna be a big pile of mess and issues under that rug. And he pretty much encourages Jasmine to have the courage to kind of ask Eris the questions and let him know how she's feeling. And I don't know if we can get that done in 12 days, but I mean, he gave her the best decision that maybe she can use in the next marriage, because they definitely not going forward. And what kind of bothers me about the Eris and Jasmine kind of situation, that no one has like kind of addressed Eris in this vulnerable state like he's in, because they looking like, well, Jasmine is not like giving giving of herself and being vulnerable. And what Eris defines as vulnerable as being like, oh, well, I had a neighbor. He was riding a bike one day. He flipped over it, and his bone came out his arm. And one neighbor, a tree fell on their house, and they lost all their dogs, and all kind of crazy stuff about like death and loss and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking like, surely there has to be another way of being vulnerable, because even the the doctors are saying like, well, well, Jasmine, you got to be more vulnerable, and and she, even Jasmine's copping to it like, well, I recognize, because when he's being vulnerable, I really don't have any vulnerability stories, and she talked about death stories, and that's so ridiculous to me. There's so much to tell than your loss and your childhood trauma. That can be a part of it, but there's so much more to share, and I just don't like that the experts have never addressed that. And I can't let Jasmine off the hook, because she uses the crutch of, well, people are made up of their experiences, but she would always say, well, I've never seen my mom and dad, they never fought or argued or anything like that, so I don't really know how to deal with conflict. I'm non-confrontational. But I mean, like, didn't she say she was like in a long-term relationship? And granted, coming on this show, I don't expect them to be perfect, but I do expect every contestant to sign up that they have really worked on themselves, put themselves in a position to be ready as they can to, marry a stranger at first sight. Not like, oh, let's work out my childhood trauma. I want you to be my counselor and all that kind of stuff. That just doesn't work. But what I did like about Devon, he pretty much told Jasmine like, well, you can't just be living like in a fantasy world and a lie, or just wondering what Eris is going to do, or be scared of what he's going to say. Whatever he says, that's not going to devalue you, and you will survive. It's not going to be the end of the world. And she seemed like she received it, but I don't know if she can actually apply it. So Devon meets with, Eris. I call him dead behind the eyes Eris. Like, he just looking, he like he didn't seen 10 ghosts before he came in the room, and just everything is just falling apart in his life. But he says he has a great life. I got to put on my little new glasses. These are my backup glasses. These ain't new because I broke my other glasses. But I got to see, because when it get dark, I can't see nothing that's right in front of me. But let me keep going. And I really hated this meeting with Devon Franklin. The show, I don't care who you get in front of, they're always trying to sell Jasmine to Eris, like, she's a wonderful person. You should like her. There has to be some things about her that you like. I mean, can you tell me something? And at this point, Eris is pretty much he's got his little notes together and says about the same things, like, hey, I really admire, I admire her. She teaches little white girls how to cheerlead, and she's got a dog business who she has in her parents' house, and pretty much because she's gone all day, her parents really breed the dogs, but she's just a hustler. She's just a good person, and she's peace. Like, granted, you could be attracted to some of those things, but I call BS on all of that. He absolutely flat out doesn't like her. Like, I really believe that, like, if you're serious about building a relationship, certainly attraction can grow. But the fact of the matter is, like, he, to me, comes off as shallow. So if Jasmine don't look like Kirsten, he ain't with it. So I don't know. It's just the fact that we can't get around it. It's nothing that you can do to make Eris like Jasmine. It's just not gonna happen. Um, what I guess I did like about Devon coaching Eris, he was like, he gave him that, like, that what do you call it? He gave him that comparison of thinking like, well, you're in your career, you give all that you can to your career, but you're not doing it with your marriage. You feel like your job is that important. You should treat it just like your marriage. And I totally agree with that, because, like, what more serious of a process can you go through to blindly marry a stranger and just like allow someone to pair you, someone you never talked to, someone you never picked, and you just immediately live life as a married couple. Like, you got to be open to even think about doing something. Like, you don't get there and say, oh, well, I just don't like the way they look, y'all. I mean, obviously the experts pick them for you for some reason, even though I think they pick for drama. However, it's just like, I guess some of the things you wrote on the application, whether you lied or told the truth, is going to be in that person. So you should be open to give it a try, not just say, oh, that's not the kind of person I would have picked. That's not the person I usually date. None of this is about how you usually do, because if what you were doing usually worked, you wouldn't be on the show. Like, he kind of brought Eris to the front, saying like, hey, you got to treat this process very seriously, just like it's a part of your career. Because of course, getting married is one of the biggest decisions that you can make in your life. And he's already married. He's what? He's weeks in, and he's still just like, oh well, with my job, I could lose my house, and well, he didn't say he had a house, but he could lose his car and his place to live or whatever. But if I don't like Jasmine, I can just go back to my life, which I think my life is great. You don't think your life is great. That's why you're on the show or whatever. So I just don't buy it. But to me, it isn't much there with Eris. I don't really believe that he has enough maturity to move forward with the process and kind of see Jasmine for what she is now. Like, to me, he's not even trying. It's okay to not connect with somebody. It's okay not to even like somebody, but give it a shot. Something might be there. She's willing. She's wanting. Just try it out. But ain't no hope for them. So let's move on to somebody else. Let's go with Nicole and Chris. Now, how ridiculous is Nicole? When I'm just listening to her explain to Chris, like, oh, well, when I'm feeling a certain kind of way and I tell you I want my space, but then I tell you I want to spend some time by myself, then you should come in the room and talk to me and help me process it. And if I can't process it, you process it for me. I'm like, no, I mean, absolutely not. And this is like one of the biggest issues I have with like everybody's like, I too agree that Nicole and Chris will make it, but like, oh, they're such a wonderful couple. They're not a wonderful couple. They're two trauma bonding, hurt people who don't truly express themselves, and they're just kind of smiling through and going through the process, who they either one don't really know what love is. So the fact of the matter is, like, people are like, yeah, they're just great. They're the best couple. They don't have any problems. And they do. They might have more problems than any couple on here. And that's my opinion on it. That's my take on it. Because it reminds me of like last year. Who was that? I don't even know. I can't go back to last year with Mindy and Gindy and whoever, like last year. That remind me of that. It's like, they just have no problems. Everything is wonderful. We can't even introduce the same seconds because they're so good. They're not so good. They two messed up people. And they did it for the good reasons to have that drama. And, it's just like Nicole with that self-deprecating mindset. I mean, it's like, it gets so ridiculous. Like, I mean, she just gets into, oh, well, I'm not good enough, and I used to just be in relationships for other people, and I didn't think. I mean, it's like, how in the world did you get past the evaluation process? Like, this lady needs immediate help. Do not pass go. Lock in with a therapist. Fill out an FMLA form. Whatever time the therapist need with her, that's what should be focused on. Not a marriage, not a relationship, not taking care of no dogs or nothing. And it's just like, she thinks so low of herself. I mean, from even just being in lingerie, like, she's been accustomed to people treating her so well. She actually believes that she's nothing. She's not worthy, or anything like that. I mean, it's just the fact that I even go to the point with something as small as like, she wants to be married so desperately. She's willing to do any and everything to keep the marriage, but at the same time, she is intentionally sabotaging the marriage, like looking for problems and issues. And then you see her just giving herself away, throwing herself away for Chris, where like even with something, a situation like the two dogs, like her dog only gets to visit, never gets to stay when Chris broke down. And Chris is okay with it. He didn't say, you know what? Kodo and Dodo, have been here for 6 weeks. Maybe we can bring your dog in and we can send him over to dad's house or whatever. No, he don't say that. Long as he got what he want, or even tell you after all the sacrifice you make, you know what? As far as your lease, you got how many? You got 3 more months in lease. Let's add 9 months to it, and then we could work. I live with my dogs. You live with your dogs. We date, and we see how it works, and then in a year we come together to see if the marriage is gonna work. Come on now. And guess what? I put that all on Nicole because she needs to speak up. She's speaking up so much in this, but she can't straighten her own stuff out. She can't iron out her own problems or even have the courage to address them. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy. But let me get off of that. All the couples they going on like a group date, one of these group redneck racist date. I get it that it's Tennessee, but they always got to be doing some cowboy stuff, hillbilly rodeo, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like I don't like that. That's just me. But I guess I'm from up top, so I'm not country. I just don't vibe with that. Even though I've been to a rodeo before, which it was kind of fun, but it just don't feel right to me. So um Unworthy Nicole has deemed herself, or maybe production has, because they seem to have one every year about like she's the moderator of the group or whatever. And, she tries to take up for Jasmine because when she had to break down with the girls. And I'm thinking, like, if it's girls' night, even though Eris asked, like, hey, we weren't there, so what happened? I'm like, that was girls' night. So they shared some things they may not want to share with you. But Nicole jumped in right in there. But I mean, look, Jasmine spoke about it and just saying, how she like hit a breaking point or whatever because she wasn't really getting what she wanted in the marriage. And Nicole jumps in and start chastising Eris. Well, you know what? I expect more from you, and Jasmine's going to do more. And I'm thinking like, Nicole, you really have your own problems to address. How are you solving and addressing everybody's problem? And then she turned it into like Eris said, like it was a therapy session when they started just talking about, how people are feeling down and they're, unaliving themselves and all of that kind of stuff. And then Shaq jumped in and just got in there and told him like, I am that guy. I am that guy in dealing with that. Now, granted, I don't take mental health light by any means. It's just to me, in my opinion, no one's perfect, but out of the millions of people who apply for this, shouldn't we try as production to bring the most mentally healthy, financial healthy, emotional healthy people on the show and give them the best chance? It's like Shaq was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on bipolar pills right now." I'm like, like whoa, there's some things going on there that can affect him and his marriage. And again, no one is an expert and has the ability or is in the profession to work something out professionally for somebody who's struggling. Because I'm not knocking anybody struggling, but like this process is already tough. Don't we need the people at their strongest? That's just my opinion. So like I said, at this point, Nicole is moderating, and she's just like going in on just bringing the mood back, but she's trying to bring it up and just reassuring Shaq that like, hey, we're all there for you, we're here for you. I mean, people say that all the time, but who's really there for people? And Nicole assured Shaq that your wife is there for you. Let her be a resource to you. And I don't know. I can't speak for Kirsten, but she was like, "Yeah, sure." I don't know if she's that. Let's say some people are processors. They don't do well on the fly of like you giving me like all this trauma that you're going through, and then they're able to kind of give you a wonderful, great answer on how they can treat you and support you and all that. Everybody's not built like that. But Shaq's answer is the I'm leaving. He's leaving because that's what, that's what, what, Shaq do. And you know, that's what Shaq do. And, 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 you know, that's what Shaq do. we always on this thing of where Shaq needs support. And granted, I can't say that he didn't come in the door saying that. He wants someone to support. And it's more so what I take from it is more like he wants a trophy wife. He's okay with bringing you to a business function or having you sit in a hotel, or he can take you to the conference to say, hey, here I have a wife. To me, in my opinion, in my auntie's advice voice, Shaq has something to prove. He absolutely has something to prove. And I felt like, again, he says it himself. He has some internal struggles and he needs constant validation. In real life, granted, it can be a bonus when your spouse has a work trip and you can go to somewhere wonderful for free or a discount or something when you have some time off. But it's like when it's a requirement. Kirsten isn't a housewife. Why is she required to keep coming on your trips? Like the need. I don't. He's telling her, it's not a want anymore. I need you there. I've been going through so much. I've been going through. I failed my classes. Like, what? If you hadn't had those glow stick parties during the week with your mentees, you could have more time to study, maybe. Because I'm like, now he's failing school. He ain't got no money to buy no house. He needs support. He needs Kirsten to quit her job and be there for him and buy a house with him. It's just something. And you're gonna hear this in my reviews because I'm so far behind. Because I missed the review where Kirsten ridiculously kind of suggested that Shaq buy her a $2.9 million house, but she took him to her old house or whatever that her father provided for or whatever until she was 8. I'm like, how much providing could you have seen? Your father left when you was 8. And if I was Shaq, I'd be like, oh yeah, this you talking about this 1,200 square foot split foyer with 2 bedrooms and the 1994 Caravan in front? I got you. Don't worry about nothing. I got you. Your life gonna look just like it was when you was coming up. I'm gonna provide all that. You ain't gotta do none of that. I got it. I got it. Not no $2.9 million and you just started kissing me last week. No, that's quite ridiculous. But you know, as I said, Shaq to me comes off very needy. Shaq is internally battling with himself, and it just doesn't sit well. Like all that storming out and all that. Yeah, you could be upset about something, but to me, is that how a husband should handle himself? I don't think so. That's my opinion. Because guess what? We're gonna move to the next segment. Jasmine stormed out. Like men and women's behavior shouldn't mirror each other. We both have a nervous system. We both can get emotional, but it should look different. I'm telling you. So I'm just not convinced. Shaq ain't got me convinced. He's still trying to prove something to somebody. But let's keep going if we can with Shaq. And at this point, I don't know if Shaq is really a catch. Like I said, he bogged down with student loans. He needs all this attention. He's in school. He meets with a special men's group about 4 times a week up until 12 a.m. No, because to me, you got all that going on. You already married. That's my opinion. You already married. You need to have room to be able to take on your new wife. That relationship has to be built and nurtured and grown. You have to spend time with it because I have a problem with all of those. Clinton, Gina, like Gina opening a new salon. That's a marriage. Jasmine is teaching the little girls and breeding the dogs. She's already married. I mean, it's just you got to have time. I get it. People need to be on the grind, get their money, build their careers, but are you ready? Do you have time? So let me keep going. I done got way off track, and I would say I have to bring it to the front because I'm like, dang, I missed so many reviews. There's a reason the experts continue to question Shaq's masculinity. It's a reason. It's there. And they trying to bring Shaq to the front, but he ain't ready. He's struggling. But at this point, they kind of moved on the group into like a more better place. They want to find out about Shaq and Kirsten's love. Like they show like little flashbacks of Kirsten talking to the girls and I'm like, if Shaq come get it, I guess like he did in the painting class, if we can say, when he stuffed that strawberry down Kirsten's throat, she was with it. He got to, assert himself. And Shaq asked Kirsten for permission because to me, they already put it out there that they consummated the marriage. Then they pull back and like, oh, we were only on second base. And then again, Kirsten gives Shaq to go ahead. I can be assertive. We consummated the marriage. Like that. I'm like, okay. Okay, Shaq told us what he did. And tell us something we don't know. And pretty much that pretty much that was it and said and done. But the mood it continued to get lighter. They started to do the little line dances or whatever, the country line dance, and Clint out there, he's showing off and doing his thing. I don't think Clint's a great dancer, but he got passion out there. He doing his thing, and Kirsten and Shaq out there still like they doing the Jamaican dance, like on at the when they was on their honeymoon or whatever. But here we go. We got another issue going on. Jasmine storms off. Why? Because everyone is dancing with their spouse, and Eris decides to dance with the dance teacher. And granted, the dance teacher initiated. He could have said no. He really could have been dancing with his wife. The same little dumb moves he's making. He could have did that with Jasmine. And of course, she feels rejected. So she walks off. She's done. It's done. She ain't doing it. And Eris gave to me like a speech. Well, he said the right things. But, I can understand in this situation where you could feel slighted or whatever or rejected. I had no intention of doing that or whatever. And she like, I just wanted to dance with you, but you choose to dance with. He's like, oh no, that that little country girl, that ain't my type of girl. Like, what does that even matter? But okay, they go in the Uber, and they gone or whatever. And Dr. Pepper, I guess she saw the tape. She did a house call the next day, and dead behind the Eris is sitting there with Jasmine. And Dr. Pepper's really like, what's going on? Tell me what's going on, because they told me Jasmine use some key words like, I'm done, this is over, and all that. And Dr. Pepper like, what's up? Tell me something. What's going on? And this was the time that somebody, I'm gonna say Jasmine, but somebody should have said, you know what? This ain't working out, because even at this point, Eris had been apologetic and he took all accountability, but now it's a new day. He like, well, shoot, Jasmine kind of blew up and it was unwarranted and she shouldn't have been like that. I'm like, man, he backpedaling. I'm like, and somehow, one way or another, Dr. Pepper's trying to give them an out and saying like, are y'all trying to move forward? Is there something here that y'all can continue? And Eris like, I believe something. There's something that, we can do it, because, when we date, I like that part. I'm like, have I seen them on a date before? I mean, granted, I've been missing some reviews. Let me know. Drop down in the comments. Have they dated? Did I miss something? I don't know. Maybe they not showing us. I don't know. But I'm like, I was just so disappointed with the situation, because like, this was the time to put everybody, including yourselves, out of this misery. There's no hope. And Jasmine takes anything Eris throws out as a ray of sunshine that, you know what? This marriage could work. He might be into me this just a little bit. And it's ridiculous. But let me get off them. I spent a lot of time on them. Dr. Pepper, she's visiting with Clint and Gina and suggests like they do more things of romance, because they always talk about this friendship. And what I believe, I really think that Clint is into Gina. If she say, hey, I kind of like you, Clint will turn it all the way on, because I really believe he likes it. He just can't say, how can you just go all in with a person like, hey, you're an ugly ginger and you're not my style, your skin is disgusting and all that. Yeah, who can really go in with that? But he likes her. He really likes her. And, Dr. Pepper, at this point, I think she needs to retire because she suggested that to, I guess, to kind of relate to romance and love, you would watch the segregated slave movie Driving Miss Daisy as a love interest, and then some movie about a man loving his dog. And I mean, we got enough dog love with Clinton Gina. Like every scene, we see Gina's gingery dog. Like they can't even eat that catfish po' boy in peace. The dog, like, just I mean, I'm like, I like dogs. Well, I can't say I like dogs just as anybody. I like dogs, but I have boundaries with dogs. The same way I got boundaries with dogs, I got boundaries with my children when they were little. You know, uh, I'm tired of the dog. I'm just tired. He's in every single scene. They can't have romantic time. They can't have a serious talk. The dog, just I mean, come on now, come on now. It's just getting ridiculous. But Dr. Pepper, your time is up. To even suggest that those crazy movies to as a reference of romance is absolutely absurd. So we done. Um, so Devon Franklin pays Shaq and Kirsten a visit, and they need to get to the bottom of why Shaq isn't feeling supported because we even get into a situation where Kirsten had, I guess, asked Shaq's mother for advice of, and Shaq's mother like, girl, you need to support him. He needs your support. You abandoned. He's going through such hard times. I'm like, Kirsten should have just say like, you know what? He can come over there with you and you can support him and love him because that's probably why he's the way he is. His father wasn't there. His mother had to work double shifts, so he was alone, and that affects people. I get that. I understand it. I know that. I lived it. But he needs all this support, all this nurturing. What about what Kirsten wants, or what is Shaq giving? You know, I just don't like it. And when it came up with the conversation with Devon, Shaq pretty much diminished Kirsten's support. Like, she lost a day in Jamaica. I don't know if production made or she had a choice to go to Jamaica or just whatever she tries to contribute in it. And Devon Frank was like, is she supporting you or she ain't? And he like, yeah, no, and it's like a yes or no. That's how he felt about it. And just saying like, you can't diminish how they're showing up and supporting you because, hey, it may not look like how you want it, but if somebody is giving effort and showing you that they're with you, you can't like take that credit away from them. And I totally got it. That's what I said. To me, Devon Franklin earned his check. And I'm like, what more support did he need? Shaq is like, I need her to be there to see what I do, continue to see. She just went on one trip. Like, didn't she host a party with your little special mentees group or whatever? And the guy said, girl, where you get your hair done at? She had to absorb all of that. Because that would make anybody raise the eyebrow like, did this young man come to me and say, girl, where you get your hair done at? That should raise some radars or some flags with anybody. I saw all I needed to see. When I saw that, can't nobody tell me nothing about Shaq. So, I, what more does Shaq want? That's what I'm gonna say. What more does he do? Like I said, Shaq just wants a pretty wife to sit in the hotel while he works, and he could pull out the hotel and take her to dinner. See, I like women. I got a wife. Ain't she pretty? Ain't she fit? Yeah, yeah. I'm that guy. But Shaq didn't receive any of that. Shaq doesn't like when somebody calls him out or makes him accountability. Shaq should have probably said, you know what? You can go ahead. You should call my mama, and she'll tell you everything you need to know. But pretty much that was it for the show. I ain't even gonna get into Nicole and Chris because that is absolutely ridiculous. So we just gonna close it up right here. I'm about 35 minutes in. So drop down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Who you think gonna make it? What do you think about Shaq? I would love to hear. What you think about Eris? I would love to hear it. I've been missing y'all comments. I need them bad. Say what you say. Let me hear from you. And as I always tell y'all could be anywhere in this YouTube world, but you're here with me. I really appreciate it. And I really mean it.